Hey everybody, on today's episode of We Teach You, I'm going to show you finally how you can connect your Wii Remote to your Mac and actually have it do stuff. It's important to note that I'm using OS 10.5, which is Leopard, on this particular screencast, but the methods that I'm showing you should still work for older versions of OS 10. The important thing that we need is one piece of software called DarWiinRemote. So if you want to hit up the show notes on the website, I've got links to that and any other applications I'm going to be talking about today. So if you want to direct download those, that's the place to go. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to need to do is make sure that Bluetooth is enabled on our Mac. As you know, the Wii Remote talks to the Wii using Bluetooth, so we're now going to have it talk to our Mac using Bluetooth. So go ahead and head into your system preferences and hit on the Bluetooth section. Now you can see right now I have Bluetooth on unchecked, so what we need to do is make sure that Bluetooth on is checked and that discoverable is also checked. It's important to make sure that both of these particular items are set to checked, and so now Bluetooth is enabled and we can go ahead and launch the DarWiinRemote software. So I've already installed it and I've put it on my dock, but you should run through the installer process and actually put the shortcut on your dock or on your desktop, wherever you like it, once you install it. This is a standard DarWiinRemote interface. You can see that here that it's got our Wii Remote shown, and this little screen here is to show us the buttons as we press them. This screen right here shows us feedback from the accelerometer and the gyro, so we can actually see that the Wii Remote is doing stuff when it's actually connected. We have the ability to record any information that's being sent from the Wii Remote, as well as enable the motion sensors, IR sensor, and force feedback, which is the rumble. The important thing we want to do here, though, is we now want to find the Wii Remote. So if we click on the Find Wiimote button, you can see it's going to ask us to press 1 and 2 buttons simultaneously. So I'll go ahead and do that. And now it's searching for the Wii Remote. And so this often happens to me where the very first time I'm connecting remote, it'll discover it and then it'll lose the connection. So I'll go ahead and hit Find Wiimote again, and then just press 1 and 2 buttons simultaneously again. And you can see now that the Wii Remote is connected and it's actually sending data. So as I wave it around, you can see that all the accelerometer and the gyros are going crazy with information. I'll also note that as I press buttons, like I'm pressing B and the directional pads and everything, the indicators are showing up on the actual Wii Remote here. So now what this program allows us to do, not only is by having fun with watching the pretty colors, is also enable the Wii Remote to be used as a keyboard input. So if we go into the DarWiinRemote and under Preferences, you can see that there are different mappings available. By default, it should be on Apple Remote, which means that the Wii Remote is going to be simulating the Apple Remote that I have on this particular computer. And if you go into key mapping section, you can see all the different keys, which up, down, left, right, A, B, and all those different buttons are mapped to different keyboard inputs. So this allows you to actually create your own keyboard inputs, and what I'm going to be doing is I'm actually going to be emulating a Nintendo Entertainment System controller for the standard NES, so I can play NES games using an emulator. Also, you can see that Nunchuk and mouse are available because the DarWiinRemote software actually allows you to use the Wii Remote as a mouse. So if you see this little section right here, I can turn, right now it says mouse mode is off, but I can actually select motion or infrared and have the Wii Remote used as a mouse input. Now this is cool for different N64 type games and stuff like that, but the only major issue, and I'll show you that right now, is if I connect my Nunchuk, watch what happens to the Darwin software. We actually get an extra output dialog that shows us information for the Nunchuk, which includes feedback from the accelerometers inside, the Nunchuk analog stick, and the C and the Z button. The only problem, though, is if we go into Preferences again and click on Nunchuk, you can see that C and Z are able to be mapped, but the analog stick cannot. And that's a problem with the current version of the DarWiinRemote software. A limitation is the fact that you can't use the analog stick. So playing N64 type games like Mario 64 using the analog stick just isn't possible right now. But I'm sure in future versions we're going to see analog input as a possibility. So what you can see is I've already created a preset for NES, and I'll actually go into that. I'll disconnect my Nunchuk and check the key mappings. You can see that up, down, left, right, 1 and 2, and plus have been mapped to what my emulator uses as key inputs, which is left, down, up, right, return, backspace, and tab. So now with keep the the Darwin Remote software running, because once you close the Darwin Remote software, you lose your connectivity with the Wii Remote, and in turn you also lose the button presses. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and launch my Nestopia software, and I'll play some Excitebike. You can see Excitebike's running, and as I press buttons on the Wii Remote, it actually uses the input as if it were a keyboard. So now I can actually play the game. If it'll let me go. There we go. So now you can see I'm actually using inputs from the Wii Remote as my controller. So that's the basics of how you connect your Wii Remote to your Mac and actually have it do stuff. Now I'm hoping in the future that that DarWiinRemote software will have additional capabilities. But for right now, the Nunchuk unfortunately just isn't usable. But when that does happen, we'll have lots of cool stuff that we can do. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of We Teach You. If you have any more information or have any suggestions, please hit up the forums or send me a private message on the website. And I'm looking forward to doing more We Teach Yous on the Mac and using this kind of screen capture software, because I think it's really cool. But anyway, I'm Arvin. Thanks for watching We Like to Podcast.